between two conflicting testimonies. Somebody is lying.
Okay, my nieces and nephews, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here with me today. We're gonna do a little research. Okay? Because I, or won't lie, I get pissed off when I hear misinformation, right? And I get pissed off when I hear misinformation that leads to more fascism and more violence in the street and more white supremacy. Okay, now you'll see the webpage that I am at right here. It's called the Southern Poverty Law Center. Okay, now why is this site important, the Southern Poverty Law Center? Because this is a nonprofit organization. Well, let's see if they have a homepage or something. I kind of want to, okay, what we do. We employ a three-pronged strategy to battle racial and social injustice. Okay, so the Southern Poverty Law Center, according to, if you were someone like Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro, this Southern Poverty Law Center would be considered Antifa, right? Because they're fighting intolerance and hatred. So they would actually be the true racists. This Southern Poverty Law Center would be considering. And let's read some of the site here. Fighting hate. Southern Poverty Law Center monitors hate groups and other extremists throughout the U.S. and exposes their activities to law enforcement agencies, the media, and the public. Okay, teaching tolerance. This teaching tolerance would be considered a Marxist, anti-white. This next part by the same group of people. We know we don't achieve equality and justice through the courts and investigative reporting alone. The future of our country, great country, lies in the hands of today's young people. So this would be considered actually, you know how fascists do it. If you say I'm fighting hate, oh, you're actually the hateful ones. If you're fighting intolerance, you're the intolerant. If you're anti-fascist, you're the actual fascist, okay? Seeking justice. We use the courts and other forms of advocacy to win systemic reforms on behalf of victims and bigotry and discrimination. Landmark cases. Smith versus Young, Men's Christian Association. I'm not gonna read, I'm just gonna go through a few just cases that you can study, you can research yourself. Georgia, Teresa Gilmore et al. Versus the city of Montgomery. These are all cases you can go through. Nixon versus Brewer, okay? All of these are all cases that the Southern Poverty Law Center has been involved in since the 70s. This organization, I believe, was started in the 70s in order to let's kind of look at let's see what the Wikipedia says about the Southern Poverty Law Center. Okay. Let's just look at a historical context, and their numbers here. You can call them, you can contact them. Okay, so let's look. They're located in Montgomery, Alabama. Okay, is an American nonprofit, so it's nonprofit legal advocacy organization specializing in civil rights. So we'd agree that the civil rights was good. 1965 civil rights was that good or not good? Okay, and public interest based in Montgomery. It's known for its legal cases against white supremacist groups, its classification of hate groups and other extremist organizations, and for promoting tolerance and education programs. Okay, the abbreviation, the acronym SPLC, was founded by Maurice Dees and Joseph J. Levin Jr. and Julian Bond in 1971 as a civil rights law firm in Montgomery, Alabama. So does anyone like disagree that there might be a need for a civil rights lawyer in Alabama in 1971? It is passed after the Civil Rights Act, is it? But do you think just because that law, Civil Rights Act, no civil liberties or civil rights are being violated? Ben Shapiro would tell you that they're not, right? again, I'm just going to this is basic information. If you have things that like have existed since this long that you I think are better sources of studying hate groups and the history of hate in this country, who've also fought in legal cases, who are staffed by lawyers, okay? This is where real people go when they actually want to learn things about race in this country and what has gone on. You go to places like the Southern Poverty Law Center. We won't go through the whole of the site, right? That's something that I can do in my free time. Anyone can do in their free time. So let's go to another one that I think is important for people who are social justice warriors, who care about social justice, which apparently is a negative thing. Thank you, Joe Rogan, for that being a negative thing, and being anti-fascist is negative. So as an anti-fascist, here's another resource that I would use, that I would call it, that I would say is an anti-fascist resource, right? I would say fighting neo-Nazis and hate groups would be considered anti-fascist. Right? It's not a 50-50 thing. The Southern Poverty Law Center isn't also a hate group, which they would try to tell you, right? Because now with the alt-right, they're telling you fighting fascism is the same as being a fascist yourself. So again, Southern Poverty Law Center is one place I would go as an anti-fascist who wants to learn the truth about racism, right? If I was a white supremacist, would I go to the Southern Poverty Law Center? No, I would never go there. I'd never quote anything from there because it makes me look bad. So I'd never go there. If I was talking about race on my podcast, if I was talking about race on my YouTube, and I was a white supremacist, I would never go to the Southern Poverty Law Center to get any information from there. If I had a vested interest in my promoting my distaste for Black people and African Americans, people of color, I would not go to the Southern Poverty Law Center. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that if I had a vested interest in promoting white supremacy on my podcast in a covert crypto-fascist manner, I would never, ever, I would act as though this site does not exist. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I was a crypto-fascist, I would act as though this site doesn't exist. I would act as though this site, where lawyers, civil rights lawyers, have been fighting for rights since 1971, did not exist. If I were making a podcast, content on YouTube, any type of media, I would make sure to never, ever, reference this information. I would never go to the splccenter.org to ever get information from there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let's go to another one. Another place that I would never go if I was making a podcast and trying to talk about race or mention race in my podcast, in my YouTube, in my content. Again, if I was promoting a white supremacist agenda, I would never quote this place. Another place I would never quote, the ACLU. I would never quote I would never go to the American Civil Liberties Union, which has been fighting for American civil liberties since basically after World War I, like in the 20s. Founded in 1920. American Civil Liberties Union, another non-profit organization founded in 1920 to defend and preserve the individual rights and liberties guaranteed to every person in this country by the Constitution and laws of the United States. Again, if I had a vested interest in white supremacy, I would never go to this ACLU site. I would never quote them. I would never take their opinions into heart. I would never factor them into any conversation I was having about race. I would never do any of that. I would disregard this site exists. Again, do you understand what I'm saying? I would disregard the American Civil Liberties Union. I would also disregard the Southern Poverty Law Center. Anybody who actually wanted to know for sure, or like just get a base level of information somewhere to start, would go to these organizations to be like, hey, what's going on with race in America? What's the history? I would reference these places. If I wanted to have a discussion, a disingenuous discussion, I would never go to these sites, right? I would just start talking. I would just start saying shit. Let's roll some tape. Let's roll some tape. Let's do the tail of the tape. Because you already know how I feel about this monkey. Okay, so this cretin, Tim Pool, he's the worst. He's one of the worst type of motherfuckers to me. Like this is a punk who pretends he's like, he's like a Dave Rubin. He tried to pretend, I'm a liberal, but all he says is conservative shit. So he a knocker, bro. He a not Z, right? You and my Z gang, he not a Z, bro. And I'm sorry, Joe Rogan, he ain't no Z either. He not a Z. He a not Z. right? I'm just telling you. Him and Tim Pool, they not Z's. We Z's, we Z'd up to the maximum. We pro gang, they not. Listen to this shit. Again, if you're gonna have a discussion of race, of what I aforementioned, especially if you two white men, right? Make sure you do not ever mention anything to do with anything that information on the Southern Poverty Law Center or the ACL. Never mention those things. They do not help if you're trying to dispel white supremacy. Never mention those sites ever when you're talking about white supremacy. Don't ever do it.
Right off into a different train card here. Has law enforcement ever asked you to keep certain people on the platform even after they've violated your rules?
Not that I'm aware.
So then this, to the next question pertaining to bias, you have the issue of Antifa versus the Proud Boys and Patriot Prayer. Mm-hmm. And Twitter permanently excised anyone associated with the Proud Boys, Antifa accounts who have broken the rules repeatedly, branded known cells.
Okay, so do you see the mismatch of categories right now? He's saying Proud Boys and Antifa. Okay, Antifa is an idea, just as fascism. Antifa and fascism are ideas. Proud Boys is a proposed fascist organization. Where is the Antifa organization? You're just saying fascists out there, but you're not giving me an organization. Are you saying the ACLU? Because I am making the argument on the Angry Patriot that the ACLU is an anti-fascist organization. I am making the argument that the American Civil Liberties Union is an anti-fascist organization. Now, I could be wrong. I can call those reps. They have numbers. I'm going to call them and talk to them. And if I can get them on the phone, I'm going to see what they say. Because my argument is the Proud Boys are fascists. If you're telling me like the hippie boys are Antifa, then fine. Give me a group. Don't just give me this nebulous thing of being against fascism is an organization. It's not, despite what Carl Kalinske says. It's not an organization. It's not a definitive organization. If you want to make an argument with me, if you were to say, hey, the Jenga boys down on the block over there are an Antifa group, then I can get with you on that. But just saying nebulous, that's like me saying the fascists fought the non-fascists. Like those aren't groups. Those are just two ideas. So again, conflating the Proud Boys with Antifa is like saying the Bulls are playing basketball. They're playing against basketball today. The Bulls are playing against the NBA today, right? Which team in the NBA? You're just giving me that they're playing an NBA game, but you haven't given me the team. The team, okay, the organization or the idea, the league, Antifa League. Which teams are in that league of Antifa? Think of it as leagues. All right, the fascism, they have teams. They have the neo-Nazis, they have the KKK, they have the Proud Boys, Patriot Prayer. All of these people are under the teams under fascism. So let's call them the Eastern Conference. Now let's call the Western Conference Antifa. Who are the teams in Antifa? Just give me one team, dog. Give me one team that I can go for, that I can go research. I'm arguing that the ACLU is Antifa. I'm saying you can go research them right now, and I'm saying the Southern Poverty Law Center, but he's not going to say that. I'm saying that. But who are they? Tell me who Antifa is. I just want to research them, Tim Pool. Please, I want to go to their website today. Maybe I even want to join up.
That have been involved in violence, all still active.
Who?
Is there a reason?
Who?
Well, with the Proud Boys, what we were able to do was
So with the Proud Boys, an actual group.
Actually look at documentation and announcements that the leaders of that organization had made and their use of violence in the real world. So that was what we were focused on. And subsequent to our decision, I believe the FBI also designated them.
That's not true.
It's not true?
That's not true.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not true. Yeah, the Proud Boys started out as a joke. Gavin McGinnis, Anthony Cumia, who was part of Opie and Anthony, now is his own.
Okay. Did you know that a lot of fascist groups and the way you build camaraderie with the other fascists is that you start off with jokes and memes. You don't go around saying, hey, I'm a neo-Nazi. Do you want to be a neo-Nazi? That's not how it works. Maybe it worked back in the 1920s when racism was more open and overt, but we live in 2020, Joe Rogan. Things have changed in that 100 years. You can't wear robes and be out with it now. You have to be covert. So part of the covertness is joking and making jokes. Haha, let's joke. And then what you do is you joke and you gaslight. It's the joke. It's the gaslight and rip shit. You joke, you gaslight. You joke, you gaslight. If the motherfucker doesn't like your joke, you gaslight him. Oh, you don't get humor, man. I'm just making a joke against black people. What? You don't have no sense of humor? Oh, it's just a joke. Okay, so you gaslight the people that challenge you, but the people who joke with you, you keep joking with them. You keep joking. You keep going deeper and deeper, deeper with it, deeper with it, deeper with it, deeper. And then guess what? You're now fascist. Anybody who studied fascism for 5 fucking seconds understands this pattern. You don't just come out saying, "Oh, we're gonna," no group like this ever comes out saying, "Oh, we're just gonna beat up Jews and shit." You don't say it like that. You make Jewish jokes, and then you keep joking, because you don't know how deep people want to go with it. So you have to use jokes. You don't just go to the party saying, "Oh, you want to be fascist? You want to be fascist? You want to hate Jews with me? You want to hate Negroes with me? Oh, this is not fun." No, you make jokes. You joke and it's a common tactic. This is a well-known tactic. Again, I think Joe Rogan is tremendously ignorant, and I think he's a low-key white supremacist. So to me, of course he doesn't get this shit. Of course he's saying knucklehead. Whatever. He a knucklehead. You already know.
Show.
Can't stand this man.
Told me about it. It happened on his show. Because there was a guy that was on the show, and they made a joke about starting a gang based on him because he was a very effeminate guy.
Again, he's basically describing you the fascist process, but he's acting like that it's not the fascist process. But he's actually explaining, he's walking you down how fascists work, and he's actually giving you a blueprint if you want to be a fascist too, how to do it. Make jokes first.
Call them the Proud Boys. And they went into detail about how this thing became from a joke and saying that you could join the Proud Boys, and everyone was, it was like being silly, to people joining it, and then it becoming this thing to fight Antifa, and then becoming...
Again, he's using Antifa like it's some official thing. Like people are like, what are Antifa fighting, dog? Like, with any other group of bad guys, it's pretty obvious, right? Crips, Bloods, those are turf, like kind of more in the hood, ghettos, rougher economic neighborhoods. They're about pretty much like using force and violence to maintain kind of territory for like drug trafficking and shit. Okay, I get that. Is it great? No, it's not great, but I understand it, right? I understand exactly what Bloods and Crips do. Neo-Nazis, I understand it. They're white supremacists. If they could have their way, they'd want an ethno-state. It's pretty obvious. KKK, pretty similar. They don't like Catholics or Jews or blacks or anybody like that, and they want just a pure white, lily white world. I get it. Whether I'm for or against not KKK, I get what they're about. What is Antifa about? Is it about, what is it? Is it fighting white people? See, if it was about just fighting white people, then just say it. Whatever it is, just tell me what it is. But really what it is, it's anti-fascist, and he can't ever say that. He has to keep calling it Antifa. He'll never say to be an anti-fascist. He'll never elongate it, because then he would actually be denouncing anti-fascism. You know what I mean? He's not smart at all. But he's dumb enough to have it work for people who kind of want to be racist anyway, but trying to want to be. He's the racist guy that gets to get away with being racist because he likes famous black people, because he'll hang out with some famous black people. So people will think, oh, he cool. All right, whatever, Doug.
Fested with white nationalists and becoming...
Oh, the poor Proud Boys got infiltrated with white nationalists. How come that never happens with... how come Antifa doesn't have any white nationalists in it? If it's so easy to infiltrate, how come no white nationalists infiltrated that one? Is it because it's anti-white? Just say it's anti-white if that's what... Because he believes that, but he don't want to say it. He believes it, he don't want to say it.
In many ways, it was. But it's been documented how it started and what it was, and misrepresented as to why it was started.
I think...
Who misrepresented it? Who's misrepresenting it? You've had this fucking clown, Gavin McInnes, come on plenty of times on your show to talk about what it's all about. And he said bold-faced, shit's about violence. I don't know though. These antis so desperate for Antifa to be a thing that he can like denounce. Keep denouncing it, bro. You just look like you're an idiot. You're a mediocre motherfucker who gets paid a lot of money. So so if I was getting paid freaking $30,000 an episode to say this shit. Actually, I would never say this. I would rather die than sell out the working class, my proletariat, my Z gang. But if I was that kind of motherfucker, you know, I get it. You're making a lot of money to say average shit, average wrong shit.
I think there's some things that should be clarified about them, but Gavin has made a bunch of statements that cross the line. He claims to be joking.
Oh, he claims to be joking across the line. Well, he's the founder of that shit. Who's the founder of Antifa? You know Antifa has existed. You know the Allied forces were Antifa fighting fascists in Germany.
And so that's
well, he did on my podcast. He was talking to me about Antifa, that when Antifa was blocking people like Ben.
I know, and I'll take the Nazis' word for it any day of the week. Just say something to me. Just open your mouth and speak, Gavin McInnes. Don't worry, I'll believe you.
Shapiro's speeches and things along those lines, and stopping conservatives from speaking. You should just punch them in the face. We're gonna have to start kicking people's asses.
Right.
And I was like, well, this is not just irresponsible, but foolish and short-sighted.
Oh yeah, foolish but short-sighted. But you platform him, dog. You platform him for your tens of millions of fans. You think people who are down for that didn't watch your freaking podcast with him on and say, this is we on Joe Rogan. To little Joe Rogan, you know. Look how he's talking about it now. I told him it was bad. No, wait, stop with the fascism. No, please stop. No. They're doing, no, they beat it. No, stop. So strong, Joe Rogan. So smart, so deep. What a defender of the average person.
And it's just a dumb way to talk.
So then you have the Antifa groups that are engaging in the same thing.
Again, he's saying Antifa groups. Just give me one name, dog. Give me one name where I can go to the website. Give me one name. He's such a grifter. He's so grifter. What I'm learning about the Joe Rogans, Ben Shapiro's, all these black conservatives, bro, there is so much money in these streets if you want to talk shit about anything that has anything to do with racial equality. If you're willing to call someone an SJW, if you're willing to say Antifa's the actual racist, if you're willing to call a black person who fights for equal rights, given the 400-year history of this country with race relations, they're the true racists, bro, there's always gonna be money for you. If you're a black person and you do it, woo, money, ching. You gay and you talk against the LGBT community, you trans and you talk against the trans community, every time you in a community, they will pay you big money to talk against your own community. Every community that's a minority in this country, my Z gang, we all know the freaking games they play. Everybody who's rocking with me knows these games. Trot out a Mexican to say Mexicans are Donald Trump's right. Trot out a black person to say 1350 they do all the violent crime. Trot out a gay person to say the gay agenda is taken out of America and the gay marriage should be illegal. If I get that, if I pay someone in that community very well, they'll just say it for me. I can sit back and see, there's. It's such an overly basic trick that they keep doing. You know why they keep doing it? Because there's a lot of foolish people who it works on. That's the saddest part, is that this fucking Tim Pool, Jim Rogan whack hour, cookie hour and shit. God damn, I wish this motherfucker would still do some Fear Factor, bro. Oh, can we raise some money to get this fool back to Fear Factor so he doesn't keep platforming Nazis and alt-righters? Because this fool alt-right, bro. And he a grift. Oh, he's so grifter. I hate him with the little beanie and shit. Bro, I'm bald, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Bro. I'm still smooth, bro. I'm still cool. You take that beanie off any day, bro. You punk. Oh, it's such a.
The famous bike lock basher incident where a guy showed up, hit seven people over there with a bike lock.
Fuck it. I'm over this shit. It's going to be a series of anecdotal. They're the same shit every time. Let me try out anecdotal shit. Some biker somewhere. Give me data and give me a group I can go to. If Antifa's so bad, give me the group. Who are these people? Okay, fuck them. Get this shit off my fucking shit. Get these people off my thing. I can only handle so much of Joe Rogan before I get incensed. I get infuriated. Now, I know why I get so mad at Joe Rogan, because I used to like him. I thought his stand-up was funny. I thought he went after Carlos Mencia for stealing jokes. I thought, that's hilarious. He going after Mencia, who was a big dog at the time, making loot for Comedy Central. So I thought, okay, he going after the big dog. He about the regular person. But now he's making his paper, dude. He's such a trash monkey, dude. He out there I think he's a closet white supremacist. Yes, I think that shit. Yes, I think. How you fucking have Gavin McGinnis, Richard Spencer, Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, all of these people, Milo Yiannopoulos, Gavin McGinnis, Proud Boys. What is this? But I'm just 50-50. You know, Cornel Weston, the Proud Boys, same shit. And then that's the problem. Then people like Bernie go on. Then people like Cornel West. And then all Bernie does and Cornel West when you go on Joe Rogan is you legitimize Gavin McGinnis. Why would you go on a show where a Nazi went on? Because so many people watch it. You know, and to me, that's the proof of just because something is freaking popular, it does not make it good. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's why so many people think that watch Joe Rogan because he's good, like because he has varied people of all different backgrounds. No, all it proves is that there's a lot of money if you platform Nazis, which is really, really sad, really disturbing. But whatever, it is what it is. But that's the takeaway. Stop trying to make it seem like, oh, it's really awesome because he has both sides. No, it's because he's willing to have those trash motherfuckers on his shit. That's why. That bolsters his shit. He's really more for these like disaffected white men who, you know, maybe they might not be super racist, but they're like darn near fucking right on the edge of it where they think black people are inherently about to rob them. You know what I mean? And he's like, again, these fools are the lubricant which lets that racism slide down your throat and so you can ingest it and really get the nutrients of the racism and like have it run through your bloodstream and just embody the fuck out of it. So I'm heated, you know, I get heated. I get so heated with these people because, again, I feel like Joe Rogan's like a horror movie when you're a person of color. He's that person that, as me as a person of color, I see how trash he is, but everyone thinks this fool is dope. And it's like, you have to accept it. And it's like, even me going after him, the amount of motherfuckers is going to come after me, whatever. But it's like, I just can't stand this motherfucker. I really can't. Like, I don't know what else to say. All right, Z Gang, you know I love you so much. You know I love you. Thank you